Nardi's. ETOOFRESH getting up at third base, and Zerg is just held in this base. I think at this point he might actually be able to overrun this army, and that's what he'd be wise to do, but he is feeling more comfortable in this kind of spore crawler ring, or sorry, spine crawler ring. He just does not want to let him get this Colossus out. Is there one out? Yes, there is one Colossus out, and at this point, he's coming off creep, just lowering the mobility of the Zerg, throwing on these force fields, just making these roaches are just doing nothing as this Colossus just shreds units. Like I did say, roaches do a good job against Colossus, so just pulling back. Well, that's okay. He's got another Colossus making. I'm curious to see, does he have the Thermal Lance upgrade? Thermal Lance, what do I see? Here's his engineering bay. Yes, he has gotten the Thermal Lance, increasing the range of the Colossus. That just makes them deadly. Just ugly. So food count is actually still pretty similar. And as I noted before, so only 12 food differential following that engagement. And a lot of ETOOFRESH's units are in probes, about a 20 food differential there. So at this point, Nardi actually has a larger army, actually a significantly larger army. Obviously, that's changing at all points. But what he really needs to be doing with a Zerg army is harassing, pulling over here and taking out this expansion. Really, forcing ETOOFRESH's army to move across the map and maybe sending in some Zerglings. But at this point, just still kind of stuck in his base. He just seems a bit scared from of the Protoss. These infestors are starting to get a lot of energy, so that's great. Be able to do some more spell casting. Looking at the production, Warp Prism coming out. ETOOFRESH might be wanting to do some harassment, or maybe just instead of doing a proxy pylon, sometimes you just like to have that Warp Prism there in order to reinforce. But I'd like to see him maybe put a Warp Prism up here, start warping into the main, while also flanking with the Colossus, which can go up the hills there. So maybe we'll see something exciting like that. Meanwhile, Zerg just continuing to... Oh, he's got Mutalisk, so he does have the Spire up. Like I said, I think you want to get Corruptors against Colossus rather than Mutalisks. You can cast Corruption, which causes them to do 20% more damage. I'm not sure if this Overlord has, or this Observer has seen the Spire. There's 2 Mutalisks out right now. That is just not the critical number. You see he's got spare larvae sitting there, spare gas, so it really needs to be producing faster. Looking at the army again, at this point, ETOOFRESH is really pulling away. Hopefully I was not reading that backwards the entire time. I don't think I was. But I'm starting to be paranoid about my casting skills because they are subpar. So at this point, so only 17 minutes into the game here is Nardi getting up an expansion, which is instantly scouted by ETOOFRESH, instantly. So he's got this army about halfway between his third expansion and Nardi's expansion. So he's kind of got to decide out, am I going to defend or am I going to push the expansion there? He's coming up here actually to take out these destructible rocks. So he's looking to take even an additional expansion. See, it's at this point, I just really wish our Zerg player was just scouting a bit more, sending Zerglings and noticing, for example, there is no army at all in this base. There is no army at all. A Warp Prism just sitting there. And so these mutas are flying out, but they're seen in the middle of the map by ETOOFRESH's army. They're just going to continue on. I like this play. He's going to be able to take out and basically halt mining here. I don't like focus firing these pylons. It's a waste because he's going to be able to reinforce with units. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Meanwhile, pushing into Zerg base, 4 Colossi at this point. Oh, this is... yikes. These spine crawlers just falling as the Zerg army just shredded. These infestors haven't done anything, no spell casting going on, nothing at all. My friend is still bugging me to play, inviting me to a party here. I'm sorry, I'm having my own party, and it's called the Apple StarCraft Tournament. I'm having a party casting it. And Zerg is able to wipe out the ground force, but 3 Colossi survive, along with 2 spine crawlers. Meanwhile, more action still going on here. Sorry, 2 things going on at once. That must have been kind of like miserable for the players, which were forced to just divide their intentions between 2 places, but our top skill players are always able to do that. It's Quasi wandering over to check things out. I'm just going, oh yeah, that's right, I can't attack mutalisks. Let me get the hell out of there. This is always good. Units do take more damage as they're warping in. I'd like to see all 4 focus firing right on that Stalker. So looking at the army counting station, it's a pretty ridiculous lead in favor of ETOOFRESH. He's not really even caring about defending it at this point because he's not even mining there. So most of his units are over on this 3rd expansion. Still hasn't taken this gold. But just at this point, just able to warp in so many stalkers and just basically just going to have such high income versus Nardi that these mutalisks are just not going to continue doing damage. Meanwhile, more mutalisks coming out here to the natural. Now, if he could take out this pylon, that would actually be really great because he would halt production on Colossus. But he's instead choosing to attack the Econ. More mutalisks, though, so these mutalisks actually did escape. Although I also missed this, so I apologize. The 3rd expansion for Zerg has been decimated, and he is pushing in. So much going on in this game, and I apologize for not seeing all of that. I'm trying to check the mini-map as quickly as possible, but this was Nardi's only mining base, and at this point I really don't see how he can hope to get out of this game. He's in a lot of trouble. In his main, he's got no minerals. He's just kind of sitting here going, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. You know, he has to understand how far of a lead that ETOOFRESH is actually in. But he's given it his all. This is the tournament. He's not giving up until all of his drones are roasted, as well as all of his buildings. Well played. Got some observers shipping in. Next map. This was a lot of fun to watch. This game was closer than it appears in the end. Both players is doing so much at once. Really exciting. So I was happy to watch this game. I think both have made mistakes at certain points, and there were opportunities for both players. So really well played by both of our participants here.